It's the Apple Podcast title. Unpacking the 2019 Instagram anthem, David Guetta, Daddy Yankee, and the anatomy of a global hit, The Deep Dive.
Join us on the deep dive as we break down the 2019 crossover smash hit Instagram by Dimitri Vegas and Industry, like Mike, David Guetta, Daddy Yankee, Afro Bros, and Natty Natasha. How does a song with 5 headline artists, 9 songwriters, and multiple languages come together to dominate global charts? We analyze the track's blend of dance and reggaeton, its rare explicit lyrics for Smash the House artists, its sun-drenched Ibiza music video, and its fascinating chart journey from Belgium to the U.S. Hot Dance charts. Packed with music insights and surprising chart data, this deep dive is your shortcut to understanding the mechanics of a modern mega collaboration. SEO, Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike. David Guetta, Daddy Yankee, Natty Natasha, Afro Bros, Instagram 2019 song, dance music hit, reggaeton crossover.
Welcome back. It happens to all of us. You're at
A summer barbecue, maybe.
Yeah, exactly, summer barbecue. Or maybe you're driving with the windows down on a Friday afternoon.
Or you're standing in a really crowded club.
Right, and a song comes on, you nod your head. You might even learn the hook by the second chorus.
You tap the heart icon on your streaming app.
To add it to a playlist,
Yeah.
And you just consume it.
We all do this.
We really do. We consume these massive, omnipresent summer hits without ever taking a fraction of a second to realize the sheer scale of the machinery behind them.
Oh, the machinery is staggering.
We don't think about the cross-continental logistics, the legal contracts, or
The cultural calculation.
Yes, the cultural calculations that go into making that 3-minute audio experience a reality.
We tend to we romanticize music as a purely artistic, spontaneous endeavor.
Like a lone genius.
Exactly. The cultural image is someone sitting in a messy bedroom with an acoustic guitar or maybe a lone producer, hunched over a laptop at 3 a.m., having a sudden burst of inspiration.
Right.
But at a certain echelon of the global pop sphere, that romantic image is entirely obsolete.
It's a myth.
Completely. Creating a song at this level is closer to executing a multinational corporate merger.
Wow, a corporate merger.
Yeah, it requires market analysis, demographic targeting, and an incredible amount of logistical synchronization across different time zones.
And that is the exact illusion we're going to shatter for now today.
Oh.
We're going to completely deconstruct what is, frankly, one of the most fascinating case studies of modern music production and globalization.
It really is a perfect specimen.
We are looking back at the 2019 single, simply titled Instagram.
Just Instagram.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the marquee for this track, it isn't just a song by a band or a solo artist. The credits list Dimitri Vegas and, Mike, Daddy Yankee, Afro Bros, and Natty Natasha.
It's a massive lineup.
Today, we are going to examine the sheer scale of this collaboration, the very deliberate blending of genres, and its massive yet surprisingly uneven global commercial footprint.
Looking at Instagram isn't just about critiquing the music itself. It's about understanding global cultural synthesis.
Right.
It's about observing how completely different musical ecosystem,
Like European EDM and Latin reggaeton.
exactly how they communicate with each other to engineer a product designed for maximum worldwide consumption.
And to do that, we've pulled together a really comprehensive stack of information for you. We're digging through a highly detailed dossier covering the background of the track. The composition credits the incredibly specific rollout timeline.
The visual aesthetics.
Yeah, the music video, and a literal mountain of global chart and certification data.
The data is where it gets really fun.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the artists themselves, because when I first saw this roster, my immediate thought was, how on earth did these people even end up in the same room?
Well, the short answer is they probably didn't.
Really?
At least not all at once, no.
Yeah.
Which is a hallmark of modern production we can definitely get into later.
Got it.
But looking at the roster, what we have here are 5 distinct headline acts representing a very calculated geographical and cultural spread.
A very wide spread.
You have Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike, who are a massive festival headlining Belgian production duo.
Right, the Tomorrowland guys.
Exactly. Then you have David Guetta, the legendary French DJ, who essentially built the modern bridge between club music and pop radio.
He's an institution.
Then you bring in Daddy Yankee, the iconic Puerto Rican rapper. Add to that the Afro Bros, a Dutch DJ duo, and finally Natty Natasha, the Dominican singer.
But is a lineup like this actually about artistic chemistry, or is it just a cynical attempt to hack the algorithms?
Oh.
Because when you list those countries, Belgium, France, Puerto Rico, the Netherlands, the Dominican Republic, It sounds less like a band and more like a United Nations summit.
It does.
Feels almost overwhelmingly strategic.
What's fascinating here is that the strategy is the art form at this level.
Strategy is the art form.
Yes. This is a highly strategic, multi-continental alliance. It is engineered from the ground up to capture different global music markets simultaneously.
To just blanket the globe.
Think about the audiences these artists control. You have the European electronic dance market, particularly the massive summer festival crowd, completely cornered by Guetta the Afro Bros and Dimitri Vegas and, like, Mike. Then you have the rapidly expanding, incredibly lucrative Latin American and U.S. Hispanic markets covered by Daddy Yankee and Naughty Natasha.
It's brilliant.
It is a pincer movement on the global charts. You're virtually guaranteeing that the song will be placed on both the Today's Top Hits and the Viva Latino flagship playlists on the major streaming platforms.
I want to dig into the weight that these specific artists were bringing to the table in 2019 because this isn't a group of up-and-comers. The sheer volume of foundational hits these people had already generated is staggering.
Oh, absolutely staggering.
Let's look at Daddy Yankee. You can't talk about globalizing Latin music without him.
No, you really can't.
He brings the weight of the entire Barrio Fino era, which gave the world Gasolina and Lo que Pasó Pasó.
Classics.
Then he maintained that dominance through the Talento Barrio era, the Prestige album with Limbo. And that's before we even mention his featured singles.
They're huge.
I mean, the absolute juggernaut that was Despacito. And later, Con Calma. He isn't just a star, he is an institution.
He is arguably the foundational pillar for the mainstream globalization of reggaeton. When Daddy Yankee steps onto a track, he doesn't just bring his vocals.
What else does he bring?
He brings an entire global audience that implicitly trusts his curation. By 2019, the Latin music explosion triggered by Despacito in 2017 had fully solidified.
It was everywhere.
Latin artists didn't need to cross over into English to be globally successful anymore. If anything, European and American artists were desperate to cross over into the Latin market.
To get a piece of that pie.
Exactly. So having Daddy Yankee on your track is essentially securing the most valuable real estate in the industry.
Which makes his pairing with David Guetta so interesting. Guetta's track record is basically a history of modern dance pop.
He's the godfather of it.
He has the Pop Life era, the One Love era with When Love Takes Over and Sexy Bitch, the Nothing But the Beat album which gave us Titanium.
Or them girls at.
Turn Me On. Not to mention the collaborations like Club Can't Handle Me or the massive I Got a Feeling with the Black Eyed Peas. He brings a 2-decade legacy of dominating both the underground clubs and top 40 radio simultaneously. But by 2019, was Guetta really driving the creative bus here? Or was he just lending his massive legacy name to a track that's mostly driven by the Latin boom we just talked about?
That's a very sharp question.
Yeah.
Guetta is a master adapter. His genius has never been inventing a completely new underground sound.
Right. It's more about popularizing it.
Exactly. It's about identifying the sound that is bubbling up and polishing it for the mainstream pop apparatus. In 2009, he did it by merging electro house with American R&B and hip-hop.
Sure.
In 2019, the dominant sound was the fusion of Latin rhythms with electronic production.
So he adapted again.
He did. So while he might not be the sole creative driver of the reggaeton elements, his presence provides the track with a very specific, polished European club sheen.
He's a stamp of approval.
He acts as the guarantor for the European radio markets. If Guetta's name is on it, the major radio networks in France, Germany, and the UK will put it into rotation without hesitation.
And Naughty Natasha serves a somewhat similar role on the Latin side, bringing absolute heat from her own solo career.
She was on fire in 2019.
By the time this track is coming together, she is riding the wave of massive hits like Criminal Sin, Pajama No Me Acuerdo, and La Mayor Version de Mi.
She represented the absolute vanguard of modern Latin pop and reggaeton at that exact moment.
So she's the anchor there.
She provides the essential female counterpoint and the melodic anchor for the Latin demographic. Her vocal style is incredibly distinct and was just dominating the charts in Spanish-speaking territories.
Tying all of the star power together, we have Dimitri Vegas and like Mike and the Afro Bros. What stands out to me is that the song was actually released by Smash the House.
Yes, the label.
For those who aren't steeped in EDM lore, Smash the House is the record label associated with Dimitri Vegas and like Mike.
It's their baby.
It's an independent-leaning label known for big, aggressive festival anthems tracks like Tremor or The Hum.
Face-melting drops.
Exactly. Why on earth would a label known for face-melting Tomorrowland drops be the launching pad for a bilingual, reggaeton-infused pop crossover featuring Daddy Yankee?
It is a massive operational pivot. When
Mm.
a label like Smash the House releases a track with Guetta, Yankee, and Natasha, they're actively trying to transcend their core demographic.
You want the mainstream.
Festival anthems are great for building a loyal fan base and selling out arenas, but they often have a ceiling when it comes to mainstream, streaming numbers, and commercial radio play.
They don't usually chart as high.
Right. By orchestrating a major cultural event like Instagram, Dimitri Vegas, and like Mike, we're leveraging their label to capture a piece of the mainstream pop pie.
It's a statement.
It's a loud statement that they aren't just festival DJs. They are global hit makers capable of facilitating top-tier pop collaborations.
So how does an event of this magnitude actually materialize? I was looking at the timeline of this track, and this is where the sheer corporate calculation really becomes apparent.
The timeline is very telling.
The song was actually recorded in 2018, but it wasn't released until July 5, 2019.
A full year.
They sat on a track featuring some of the biggest artists in the world for an entire year. Why?
It speaks to the deliberate, highly risk-averse nature of the music industry at this level. You don't just finish a song with 5 global superstars, export the file, and upload it to Spotify on a Tuesday afternoon because you feel like it.
Right.
A track with this specific blend of genres featuring these specific artists is explicitly engineered to be a song of the summer.
Right, but why wait a whole year? Couldn't they have just released it in the summer of 2018?
Not necessarily. The logistics are a nightmare. Clearing rights, finalizing the splits for 9 different songwriters
Which we will get to.
across multiple publishing companies, coordinating the schedules of 5 incredibly busy acts to shoot a music video.
Just getting them in one place.
Exactly. And then finding the optimal release window where it won't compete with the artist's other solo projects takes months. Releasing it on July 5th, 2019 was a calculated strike.
Surgical.
It places the song right in the dead center of the Northern Hemisphere's summer. Perfectly timed for peak club season in Ibiza festival season across Europe and summer block parties in the U.S.
The rollout leading up to that July release was meticulously methodical, too. On June 18, 2019, a little over 2 weeks before the official drop, the social media tease happens.
The hype building.
Naughty Natasha and Daddy Yankee announced the song by posting photos from the video set. And the location of that set is crucial.
Ibiza, Spain.
Right.
The undisputed global capital of summer dance music. If you want to signal to the market that you have the anthem of the summer, you filmed the video in Ibiza.
And during this tease, Natasha posts a message thanking the other artists, calling the collaboration an amazing moment.
It's nice touch.
Yeah, amidst all this corporate strategy we're discussing, it is a nice reminder that for the artists themselves, working with other legends is still a personal career milestone.
True.
But the marketing mechanism here is what really catches my eye. They name the song Instagram. And how do they build hype for it?
By posting on Instagram.
By teasing behind-the-scenes lifestyle content from Ibiza natively on Instagram.
It is a brilliantly closed loop of promotion. They are leveraging the immense cultural cachet of the application to promote a song about the application on the application.
It's so meta.
It's meta marketing at its finest. They understand that their audience isn't just consuming music, they're consuming the aspirational lifestyle of the artists.
The yachts, the clubs.
By posting photos from a yacht or a club in Ibiza on Instagram, they are essentially providing a visual trailer for the audio experience.
But it makes you wonder, if a song is recorded a whole year prior, does it run the risk of sounding dated by the time it finally hits the airwaves?
That's always the risk.
Because pop music moves so fast, a trend that is hot in the summer of 2018 might be completely played out by July 2019.
Absolutely.
That brings us to the actual composition of the track, the lyrics, and what I look at as a kitchen sink approach to songwriting.
The kitchen sink analogy is very apt. When you are trying to appeal to multiple global demographics simultaneously, the sonic architecture of the song has to reflect that ambition.
It has to have everything.
It cannot be too niche in any one direction.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If you are under the impression that a track like this is just a couple of DJs vibing in a studio and a singer stepping up to a mic to freestyle some lyrics, think again.
Not even close.
The official credits list the songwriters for Instagram. There are 9 of them. Let me repeat that. 9 individual human beings are credited with writing this 3-minute, 4-second song.
It sounds like a lot.
I'll be honest, when I see a credit list that long, my immediate reaction is that it's designed by committee. It sounds less like an artistic endeavor and more like a corporate boardroom trying to engineer a hit.
That is a very common and understandable reaction from listeners who grew up with the paradigm of a four-piece rock band writing all their own material.
Right, the garage band model.
But it fundamentally misunderstands how modern global pop is constructed.
Yeah.
Think of it less like a band jamming in a garage and more like assembling the crew for a blockbuster film.
A movie crew.
You don't have the director doing the lighting, the catering, and the stunts. You have highly specialized experts.
Let's break down these experts because matching the real names to the stage names reveals how compartmentalized this actually was.
Let's do it.
The track was written by David Guetta, Francesca, Richard Dimitri Thavios, and Michael Thavios.
Who are the brothers making up Dimitri Vegas and Mike?
Exactly. Then you have Ramon Luis Ayala Rodriguez,
Who's Daddy Yankee,
Giordano M.S. Ashraf, Natalia Alexandra Gutierrez Batista,
which is Nadi Natasha,
and Rashid M.S.M. Badlow and Cher M.R. Badlow.
the Afro Bros.
So almost every single artist on the marquee is also a credited writer, alongside a few additional professional songwriters.
Exactly. This illustrates the specialized nature of the modern songwriting camp. You have the Thavios brothers, Guetta, and the Badlow brothers likely handling the intricate layers of the sonic production.
Making the beat.
They are arguing over the exact frequency of the kick drum, the synthesis of the bass line, the timing of the
The
drop.
technical stuff.
And then you have Ayala Rodriguez and Gutierrez Batista crafting their specific vocal flows. They are ensuring that the slang is current, that the Spanish verses land with the correct rhythmic cadence, and translating the overarching theme into their respective cultural dialects.
It's so modular.
It's a deeply collaborative, albeit highly compartmentalized process. And it's confirmed that there were three distinct production entities working on the final mix, Dimitri Vegas and Psych and Brute, like Mike David Guetta and Afro Bros.
The sonic result of all those specialists working together is a very specific fusion of dance and reggaeton.
It really is.
The instrumental has these heavy reggaeton influences, but obviously with Guetta and Dimitri Vegas and Mike involved, it is a massive dance track at its core.
For sure.
For those of us who aren't producers, can you break down the mechanics of that blend? What does it actually mean to merge those two genres?
It's all about the rhythm section. Traditional European electronic dance music, especially the big room house that Guetta and DVLM are known for, relies heavily on a 4-on-the-floor beat.
4 on the floor. Okay.
That means the kick drum hits on every single quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a very driving, straightforward pulse, designed to keep a massive crowd jumping in unison.
Very steady.
Reggaeton, on the other hand, is built on the dembow rhythm, specifically a syncopated tresillo pattern. It has that signature booj, booj, joop swing to it.
Yeah, you instantly recognize it.
It's designed for a different kind of movement, a different kind of dancing entirely.
So how do you put those two entirely different grooves into one song without it sounding like a mess?
You find the mathematical compromise.
Mathematical.
The producers here likely utilized the driving energy and electronic synth soundscapes of European house, but underpinned it with the syncopated dembow drum pattern of reggaeton.
Best of both worlds.
In the context of 2019, that specific sonic blend was arguably the dominant global sound. It was the ultimate musical bridge.
A bridge.
It allowed the track to be played seamlessly during a peak time set at an electronic festival in Belgium, on a top 40 pop radio station in the U.S., and in a reggaeton club in Puerto Rico. It is the sonic equivalent of a universal power adapter.
A universal power adapter. I love that analogy. Now let's look at what they are actually saying over this mathematically compromised beat.
The lyrics.
The track is bilingual, featuring verses in both English and Spanish. The thematic content is exactly what you would expect, given the title.
It's about the app.
It's about the Instagram app, the curation of lifestyle, and the concept of fleeting fame on social media. But there's a lyrical detail that caught me completely off guard.
The fairy tale reference.
Yes, amidst all the modern tech references, there is an explicit reference to Peter Pan.
Yes. That is a surprisingly literary juxtaposition for a club track.
Right.
You have this hyper-modern, technologically dependent anxiety regarding social media fame.
Right, the likes and views.
The ephemeral nature of likes, views, and 24-hour stories contrasted directly with classical mythical imagery.
Peter Pan, the boy who never grows up.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And he resides in Neverland, a fantasy world isolated from the realities of time and consequence.
Okay, I see where this is going.
The inclusion of Peter Pan acts as a rather poignant piece of literary irony. It can be interpreted as a commentary on how platforms like Instagram function as a modern digital neverland.
A digital neverland.
Users project these meticulously curated, eternally youthful, highly idealized fantasy versions of their lives. Nobody ages, nobody struggles. Everybody is perpetually on a yacht in Ibiza.
That is incredibly dark when you really think about it. A modern neverland built on anxiety and ring lights.
It is a bit dark.
And speaking of edge, there is another detail regarding the lyrics that is quite significant. The information we have notes that this single is one of few explicit songs of Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike.
That detail is crucial for understanding the power dynamics of this collaboration.
How so?
In the world of mainstream festival-ready EDM, the world that Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike dominate the focus is almost entirely on the instrumental drop, the kinetic energy, the communal, almost euphoric experience of the crowd.
Everyone jumping together?
The lyrics are usually secondary, often consisting of uplifting, universally palatable platitudes about love, unity, or dancing until the sun comes up.
A very safe lyrics.
Explicit lyrics are very rarely part of that formula because they can alienate commercial sponsors or restrict daytime radio play.
So why allow it here? If they are trying to make a massive commercial hit, why risk the explicit tag?
Because the pursuit of authenticity overrode the desire for a sanitized product.
Authenticity.
This strongly points to the creative leverage held by Daddy Yankee and Natty Natasha. They operate in the reggaeton and Latin trap spheres genres, where the lyrical content is inherently more unfiltered, more street-level, and often explicit.
It's just part of the genre.
If Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike had demanded that Yankee and Natasha sanitize their verses to fit a traditional family-friendly EDM mold, the song would have lost its credibility with the Latin audience.
They would have sounded like sellouts.
Exactly. By allowing the track to carry an explicit tag, Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike demonstrated a willingness to step outside their operational comfort zone. They let the featured artists dictate the thematic boundaries to maintain the authentic edge of the culture they were borrowing from.
It makes the crossover feel less like a corporate mandate and more like a genuine collision of worlds.
Yes.
So you have this bilingual, mildly explicit, genre-blending, Peter Pan referencing audio file.
Quite a mix.
But to truly conquer the global market in 2019, audio alone is insufficient. You need a visual narrative to anchor it.
You have to visualize the vibe.
And that brings us to the music video.
The visual component is absolutely paramount. It functions not just as an accompaniment, but as the primary packaging for the products in the YouTube era.
The music video dropped on the exact same day as the single July 5, 2019. It was uploaded straight to YouTube. And the first thing I noticed was the runtime.
The length.
The video clocks in at exactly 3 minutes and 36 seconds. But the official audio track is only 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
32 seconds difference.
What happens in that extra 32 seconds?
That additional time is standard industry practice for high-budget visual treatments. It allows the director to establish a cinematic introduction, create narrative context before the music kicks in, or utilize an extended outro sequence.
Setting the scene.
This grounds the song in a specific physical environment or storyline, making it feel more like a short film and less like a static audio file.
And the physical environment they chose to ground it in is key. As we mentioned, it was filmed entirely in Ibiza.
The ultimate party island.
The visual narrative is incredibly straightforward. It presents the DJs, Natty, Natasha, and Daddy Yankee, at a massive outdoor party utilizing the Instagram app and eventually coming together to take a selfie.
Very on brand.
I want to try and paint this picture for you if you haven't seen it. Think of the most hyper-saturated, sun-drenched aesthetic possible.
Blindingly bright.
You have crystal clear Mediterranean water luxury yachts bobbing in the background, high-end fashion, and this assembly of global superstars just mingling and dancing.
Living the dream.
And the literal climax of the video, the thematic anchor of the entire multi-million-dollar production, is the artists huddling together to take a selfie on their phones.
It is the absolute epitome of marketing imitating lifestyle.
How so?
The music video is functioning as a high-budget, highly stylized representation of an Instagram story.
The whole video is a story.
The act of taking a group selfie isn't just a fun, spontaneous moment captured on film. It is the core thesis of the project. It reinforces a very specific aspirational message to the viewer.
Which is?
We are living the reality that you consume on the app. We are the architects of this platform's culture, and this track is the official soundtrack to that lifestyle.
So what does this all mean? You have this perfectly tailored, surgically engineered audio-visual package. You have the strategic midsummer release date, the multinational powerhouse roster, the meta-marketing loop, the genre-blending beat designed to play everywhere.
All the ingredients are there.
Did it work? Did the global pincer movement actually conquer the world? That brings us to our next major area of analysis: chart domination.
The numbers don't lie.
And looking closely at these numbers, it truly is a tale of two hemispheres, or rather a study in the hyper-regional realities of the music industry.
The chart data is where the theoretical strategy meets the reality of consumer behavior. It allows us to track exactly how deeply this track penetrated different global markets, and the anomalies are incredibly revealing.
Let's do a deep dive into these global chart numbers because there are some wild variations that completely challenge the idea of a global hit.
It wasn't uniform everywhere.
I'm going to run through some of the peak positions from the 2019 to 2020 weekly charts. In the Netherlands, on the Dutch Top 40, it peaked at number 5.
Very high.
And on their single top 100, it hit number 6. In Belgium, specifically on the Ultra Top 50 Flanders chart, it reached number 7.
Consistent.
Over in Romania, on the Airplay 100, it hit a very solid number 16. In the US, on the Billboard Hot Dance Electronic Songs chart, it reached a respectable number 23.
Those are incredibly strong numbers, particularly in the Benelux region, Belgium and the Netherlands.
Right.
That success is entirely logical. Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike are Belgian icons, and the Afro Bros are Dutch.
Home field advantage?
They leveraged their home court advantage perfectly. The massive festival infrastructure in that region, events like Tomorrowland serve as an unparalleled promotional engine for these specific artists.
But then you look at some other major markets, and the numbers drop off significantly.
They do.
In Germany, it peaked at number 29. In Austria, number 42. In Switzerland, number 53.
A steady decline.
Down in Colombia, on the National Report, it hit number 79. In Portugal, number 95. And here is the data point that genuinely shocked me. In France, on the SNEP chart, it peaked at number 104.
Yes, that is a massive data anomaly that requires unpacking.
Right. Why did it peak at number 5 in the Netherlands but only scrape the bottom of the top 150 at number 104 in France? David Guetta is French.
He is.
He is arguably one of the most famous musical exports in French history. You assume that putting his name on a track alongside Daddy Yankee guarantees a top 20 debut on French radio at a bare minimum.
You would assume that, but it highlights a crucial reality. Even with a megastar, you cannot override localized cultural and sonic preferences.
Fans want what they want.
The data tells a story about hyper-regional tastes in dance music, even within the relatively small geographic footprint of Western Europe.
How different can it be?
Well, while Guetta is French, the specific sonic profile of Instagram, the heavy reggaeton influence mixed with the aggressive smash-the-house brand of big room EDM might have resonated far more strongly with the Dutch and Belgian club scenes in the summer of 2019 than it did with the French mainstream radio or streaming algorithms at that exact moment.
They just weren't feeling it.
The French market might have been favoring domestic rap, a different subgenre of electronic music, or entirely different Latin crossovers.
Interesting.
It shows how fragmented the European music market truly is. A massive, inescapable hit in Brussels is not guaranteed to translate to Paris, despite them being a short train ride apart.
And there's another fascinating anomaly that proves your point right inside Belgium itself.
The regional split.
The data lists two separate Belgian charts, Flanders and Wallonia.
Right.
In the Flanders chart, which represents the Dutch-speaking northern region, it hit number 7.
Smash hit.
But in the Wallonia chart, the French-speaking southern region, it only reached number 24.
A significant drop.
So even within the borders of one single country, there was a massive split in how the song was received by the public.
That is a perfect microcosm of how linguistic and cultural ties dictate music consumption.
It follows the language lines.
Exactly. The Flemish market is closely tied culturally, linguistically, and via media networks to the Netherlands. So it perfectly mirrored the massive Dutch success of the track.
That makes perfect sense.
The Walloon market has closer cultural and media ties to France, and therefore mirrored the slightly cooler, more resistant reception we saw in the French market.
Number 24 versus number 104.
It performed better in Wallonia than in France itself, likely due to the sheer localized star power of Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike as national Belgian figures. But the cultural divide is undeniably visible in the chart data.
Okay, here is the statistic that I found most interesting in the entire data set. It states that Instagram became Dimitri Vegas, and Like Mike's most popular single on Shazam.
That is an incredibly revealing metric regarding how the song interacted with the general public.
Think about that context for a second. We just talked about their discography. These guys have tracks like The Hum and Tremor that have been played at almost every major EDM festival in the world for years.
Decades almost.
They are absolute anthems with hundreds of millions of streams. And yet this song, Instagram, was the one people were pulling their phones out to identify the most? Why do you think that is? Is it just because it was played in more mainstream environments?
It links directly back to the bilingual, genre-fluid nature of the song and the universal power adapter concept we discussed earlier.
Adapter, yeah.
When you hear Tremor at a festival, you are likely already a fan of that specific genre, or you are in an environment where you don't necessarily need to know the name of the track to enjoy the kinetic energy of the drop.
You're just there jumping around.
You are there for the experience. But Instagram was designed to infiltrate entirely different environments.
Like where?
Shopping malls, commercial radio beach clubs, casual backyard parties, clothing stores.
So people are hearing it out in the wild.
Right. When a casual listener, someone who doesn't necessarily follow EDM, hears a track that blends recognizable Latin rhythms with a massive dance hook, and they hear vocals in both English and Spanish, it creates a moment of friction and curiosity.
What is this song?
It feels familiar yet novel.
Yeah.
It crosses the boundaries of what they typically listen to, so they pull out Shazam to identify it.
That makes total sense.
It reached demographics that wouldn't normally search for a Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike festival track, which spiked its discovery metrics.
And it clearly wasn't just a fleeting moment of curiosity either. If we look at the year-end charts, the longevity of the track is genuinely impressive.
It stuck around.
In 2019, it was the number 31 song of the entire year in Belgium, Flanders, number 38 on the Dutch Top 40, number 94 in Romania,
Solid year-end placements.
and number 78 on the U.S. Hot Dance Electronic Songs chart. But what's crazy is that it carried over into the next year.
The 2020 chart.
On the 2020 year-end charts, a full year after its release, it was still present, ranking number 86 in Belgium, Flanders, and number 52 in Romania.
Being present on year-end charts across multiple countries for 2 consecutive years proves that the strategy worked.
It wasn't a fluke.
It wasn't just a flash in the pan. It had a massive sustained tail. It successfully embedded itself into the cultural soundtrack of those specific regions.
It became part of the fabric.
It transitioned from being merely a heavily marketed summer hit to a staple catalog track that continued to generate steady streams, radio airplay, and club spins long after the initial multi-million-dollar promotional push ended.
And that steady years-long stream of airplay and searches translates directly into our final area of analysis, certifications and the economics of a hit.
The business side.
Because as much as we are analyzing this as a cultural artifact, it is fundamentally a highly lucrative commercial product.
Oh, without a doubt.
Let's look at the actual certifications this song achieved, because comparing the raw numbers provides a fascinating look at the global economy of music.
It's a great economics lesson.
Okay, let's unpack this. In Belgium, the track went 2x platinum, which represents 40,000 units sold or streamed.
A huge success there.
In Mexico, it went platinum for 60,000 units. Spain also awarded it platinum for 60,000 units.
Consistent numbers.
Poland gave it platinum for 20,000 units. Then we get into the gold certifications. France certified it gold for 100,000 units.
Okay, 100,000 for gold.
Germany also certified it gold, but it required 200,000 units to reach that status.
Double the amount.
Italy gave it gold for 35,000 units. Switzerland awarded gold for 10,000, and Portugal gave it gold for just 5,000 units.
The scaling is wild.
How does that work? How is it that moving 5,000 units earns you a gold record in Portugal, but you need to move 200,000 units, 40 times as much product, to get that exact same gold plaque in Germany?
It is a perfect practical lesson on market scaling and global music economics. Music certifications, gold, platinum, diamond, are not universally standardized global numbers.
So there's no central rule book.
There is no central authority dictating that 100,000 streams equals gold everywhere. They are relative metrics established independently by each individual country's own music industry association.
Who are they?
For instance, SNEP governs the thresholds in France. BVMI sets them in Germany, and so on.
Okay.
These thresholds are carefully determined by analyzing the overall size of the domestic music market, the total population size, and the historical purchasing power or streaming adoption rate within that specific country.
So Germany just has a vastly larger consumer base for recorded music than Portugal, so the bar for success is set proportionally higher.
Exactly. Germany is historically one of the top 4 largest music markets in the entire world, alongside the US, Japan, and the UK.
Wow, top 4.
Therefore, the barrier to entry for a track to be officially recognized as a hit is much higher in terms of raw consumption numbers.
And Portugal.
Portugal has a significantly smaller population and a smaller overall music economy. Moving 5,000 units there represents a proportional level of national market penetration that is roughly equivalent to moving 200,000 units in the massive German market.
It's entirely relative to the size of the pond you are swimming in.
Precise.
But regardless of the threshold, if we connect this to the bigger picture, these certifications represent incredibly lucrative returns.
Massive returns.
While the song was a deeply collaborative artistic effort with 9 songwriters, these numbers represent massive revenue streams flowing back to the stakeholders across multiple, entirely separate economic zones.
It's a diversified portfolio.
You have the royalties from 40,000 units in Belgium, 200,000 from Germany, 100,000 from France, 60,000 from Mexico. All of these are separate economies generating income.
All funneling back to the rights holders.
And remember, the single was released by Smash the House, so Dimitri Vegas and Might's label is acting as the primary hub for a massive portion of this global commerce.
At the bank.
By bringing in an artist like Daddy Yankee to tap into the Mexican and Spanish markets where it went platinum, and utilizing Guetta to solidify the French and German markets, they effectively diversified their economic portfolio with a single 3-minute audio asset.
We connect this to the bigger picture. It's an incredibly efficient use of resources. They utilized the cultural capital of their collaborators to open up entirely new revenue streams in territories where they previously had a smaller footprint.
It's just staggering when you look at it from that macro perspective. A single 3-minute asset generating that kind of complex multi-continental economic web.
It's a marvel of modern industry.
It really changes the way you look at a track when it randomly pops up on your streaming service on a Tuesday.
It definitely should.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deconstruction of this particular track. We have followed the journey of Instagram all the way from a conceptual, heavily populated 2018 studio session through a highly strategic, Ibiza-drenched meta-marketing rollout in the summer of 2019.
What a journey.
And we tracked its fascinating path across the global charts to becoming a multi-platinum bilingual mega hit.
It successfully bridged the distinct, often isolated worlds of European big room EDM and Latin reggaeton.
It really proved that with the right combination of massive stars, producers, and market timing, you really can engineer a global cultural moment.
You can build from the ground up.
So I hope that the next time you hear a song at a party or on a playlist that sounds like it was made by a small army of stars,
When you check the credits on your phone.
right when you see 5 headline names on the track and 9 writers in the credits and wonder how that happened, you now understand the precise, data-driven, cross-cultural machinery that put it there.
It isn't an accident.
No, it is architecture.
It is modern architecture at its finest. And as we wrap up our analysis of Instagram, this raises an important question for you to mull over regarding the longevity of pop music.
That's the question.
When a group of artists writes a song that heavily relies on the cultural permanence of a specific technology brand, like the Instagram app in the late 2010s, what happens to the legacy of that song 20, 30, or even 50 years down the line?
When the app is gone.
Exactly. Technology is inherently transient. When the platform inevitably evolves beyond recognition, or if it disappears entirely, does the song transcend its title to become a timeless hit based purely on its rhythm and melody?
Good question.
Or does it become forever locked as a hyper-specific nostalgic time capsule of the late 2010s? It is a fascinating tension between capturing the current zeitgeist and aiming for musical immortality.
That is a brilliant point to leave off on. Is it a timeless rhythm or is it a tech time capsule? I guess only time will tell how it ages.
We will have to wait and see.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back soon to deconstruct another incredible topic for you. Until then, keep listening closely.